Okay, we're just gonna, I guess we'll just try this. I feel like anymore like not having a YouTube channel is a lot like not having a phone number. Like that's the way people get a hold of each other these days. And if I don't have one, then I'm just like incommunicado from the rest of the world, which at one point was the purpose, but now it kind of seems self-defeating. Anyway, this is me, your friend. I thought I'd start uploading stuff for my channel again after what, it's been like a year and a half, maybe longer. I thought, oh, what should I talk about? Should I talk about the game? Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the game. Should I talk about geopolitics? No, nobody's interested in that. I just make people mad. I thought, let's maybe talk a little. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story of how I was a farmer in Japan for a year and failed spectacularly. I got the idea from, there's a channel you probably don't follow called Strange Eons, which is what, over the last couple of years, like, if you don't follow like lefty content, and I don't blame you if you don't, they've kind of like, it's no fun to be made fun of, and like kind of like the woke stuff, so-called, has become like indefensible. So a lot of them have like moved to a position that's like left-wing but like 4chan adjacent, where they like they use our memes, and they use our language. They talk about like feels bad man, feels good man, and they say based and stuff like that. And then they also like make content making fun of well, woke stuff, left-wing stuff. And I don't know, it's a little bit more insightful because these guys are like formerly used to vote for Hillary, like former Bernie bros, and like got burned badly. So like they have I don't know why I'm talking about this. They have a lot more insightful take than like what would usually be on our side, which is like, you know, all Muslims are communists or whatever. And kind of like mash everything together. Stay in frame here. Anyway, so like there's this channel called Strange Eons, which is one of those. And she was doing an expose on something that happened on Something Awful like 20 years ago. Like there's this mod named Grover who was the admin of the military sub-forum. I don't remember the name of it, and he and I got into a lot of arguments. He was a real idiot. He thought like missile systems were like, it's not interesting. He thought missile systems were invincible, like the Aegis, like it would intercept every missile, and so carrier battle groups were invincible. Like United States military tech is best. Chinese doctrine is stupid. Like, yeah, well, what if I just keep throwing rocks at it until you're out of anti-missile missiles, and then I hit you with a missile? Like, no, you're crazy. Like, why do you hate America? Anyway, so she does like this thing about, apparently he posted a thread about how he built his own house and how embarrassing it was because he dug this trench wrong, and or he didn't get this permit right. And like, that's embarrassing? You call that embarrassing? I'll show you embarrassing. I'll tell you, okay, I'm going to tell you about a catastrophic failure about actually, you can go back. It's also on the Something Awful forums. If you go back to 2002 or 2003, I had a 5-star gold man baby thread called My Fight Clubhouse. It's probably in the archives, where I had moved out to rural Japan and lived on a farm. And I only posted like the cool stuff that happened, like here are my cool shoes, and here's the cool mountain, and here's my cool. I did not. Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but okay. So right after graduation, I moved out to Japan, and my dream. This is a story about what an asshole I was. Maybe still am. My dream was like to become like a Japanese salaryman, whatever. And I started teaching myself Japanese when I was 15 years old. Went out to the university and I bought all their books and finished all their books, and then subsequently I graduated from university really quickly because they had my university, well, my first university had a program where if you pass like the upper level language classes, you can buy all the credits below at the same grade. I was like, I was paying for my own schooling, so like that's a good way to, like, the credits still cost the same amount of money, but then I don't have to wait. I can just buy like 4 years worth of Chinese credits, 4 years worth of Japanese credits, and then I'll just take my core classes and I'll be out. And so I was out in like 2.5 years. I'm not bragging, but it's part of the story. So then I go to Japan, and it turns out it's really easy because they have like really aggressive labor laws in Japan to allow like foreigners to compete with Japanese people in a completely unfair way. And so I was able to get a office job at a Japanese company really easily. Like my first interview, they hired me. Well, it turns out that this company was a criminal enterprise. It was a place called Heisei Denden. I'm not going to go into the whole, maybe that's another story for another time. But yeah, it was a criminal organization, and the CEO went to prison. And I got blacklisted, which is why I ended up, they take those things very seriously in Japan. Like if you're a member of a criminal organization, even if you didn't know, right? You get put on the blacklist, and that's how I ended up in China in the first place. But while I'm still employed at this company, I start to get bored, very bored. So like, and every day, like on the way home from work, I would go to the bookstore, like, and checking out like radical like right-wing Japanese like publishers like Bill Toten and I don't remember who else. I don't remember the Japan Who Can Say No guy. His name always slips my mind, but I got all his books. And anyway, but there was like there was always this book like up right by the counter that's like discussing the topic of datsuzara. Datsuzara, which means like getting out of being a salaryman and going and basically retiring at middle age, and like and getting out of like the grind of being a salaryman. Yeah. Zara meaning like is the first part of salaryman, and datsu. Not to make this a Japanese course, but datsu is the first word in dacho, which is rectal prolapse. So now you know that. Anyway, so I got this book, and I'm reading it, and talking about how he did all this. And apparently there's a whole bunch of people who are doing this, because one thing they don't tell you, like about Japan, is that well, you assume because it's crowded in the cities, it must be crowded everywhere, and that's not true at all. Like, it's very crowded in the cities, and the countryside is completely underpopulated. Like vacant houses everywhere, and this is like a problem for these villages, because like they can't keep their tax base up. So he tells you like how to go looking for it and like who to contact. So I started canvassing these villages and like asking, and like the first one I called up was a place in it was my dream village. It was a place in Koishiwaramura, which a place called Koishiwaramura, which is I was in my company was in Fukuoka at the time, which is like way up in the north of the southernmost island of Kyushu, and then like down like 2 hours by car. I made this commute every day. 2 hours by car to the south. There's this little tiny place called Koishiwaramura, which is like this idyllic little farming town. Like because the walls of the valley is so steep, like you can't even get like farm equipment up in there. Like it's all hand done, like just the sort of thing that a sententious liberal douchebag, just the kind of place that a person like that would want to live. So I called up the village office and was like, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. He's like, oh, and Mr. Kobayashi, great guy. He was so excited, like, oh my goodness, yes, we have many people like you. Please come down. I'm sure we can work it out. And so I came down with my wife and firstborn son, firstborn son. And Yeah, they negotiated me a really good spot, like up on a mountain, like this empty house with like you know, the tatami mats on the floor and the shoji screens, and he's like, yeah, we'll rent it to you, and they're like, for how much? Like, how much? We're just happy that there's somebody living there to keep it maintained, because I guess houses decay faster when there's nobody living there. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they seem to think. So like, I paid like a token amount of $100 to live in this fantastic place. And no plumbing. There has electricity, but no internet, no plumbing per se. Well, there is. I'll talk about the plumbing in a minute. And it had like, it has a rice field, but they weren't renting out the rice field because that makes money. So that was rented out to somebody else. But the garden adjoining it I could have, and like the tool shed with all like these not ancient, but like 1950s like farm implements that were all rusted. Like it's like it was like the page out of the Oriental Adventures Handbook. It had like, you know, nata, kusarinata, and like all these, which, you know, all the what am I talking about? All the martial arts weapons, which it turns out, you know, most of them are just, you know, Japanese and Chinese farm implements. And okay, and we're up on a hill, and like there's a little path, and like just below us there's another a family of very old people, and their job is kind of to look after me unofficially. And said, okay, all right, you can live here, but we have to give you some, like, here's some instructions that you have to follow if you want to live here, because to maintain this place properly. First of all, you're in charge of the water. I'm like, okay, cool. How's the water handled? The water, there's a stream up in the mountains. Like the mountains are really steep. It's like a 45-degree angle. And straight up, there's like there's a stream, and my job is to stick this PVC pipe into the stream. So the stream flows into the PVC pipe and down to my house and then to the house below me. So I'm responsible for maintaining like the water of the old people below me. And okay, so that's instruction number one. Instruction number two is don't take down the walls. All around the garden, the quote-unquote garden, which is like a quarter of an acre, perfectly fine for me, but like a quarter of an acre, and all around it is this fence that's like 12 inches high, like a 12-inch high fence made of cabinet doors and little bits of wood, and you know, just it offended my like aesthetic sense so intensely. Okay, don't tear this down. Like, okay, I'm listening. Keep your chickens in a coop. Like, okay, I hear you. And also, every spring you have to poison the bamboo. Okay, because the bamboo will encroach on your house, and you know, we don't want that. So here's these cans of like pesticide, and here's this sprayer, and they showed me how to use how to load it up and use the sprayer. And you got to poison the bamboo, or else you're gonna have a bad time. On one other thing, no sewage. So once a year you have to like muck out the toilet. And what they have is in rural Japan is like they have like this thing called a koidame, which is like a jar. It's like a big pot, and it's like 5 feet tall, and that's where you keep your poo poo and pee pee. And then you use that for agriculture traditionally, right? So right, so they tell me you have to muck this out and bury it. You don't need to do that once a year. Okay, so, and then the old couple down below, they started they started educating us on who in the village that we needed to avoid, because very old, like Japanese community they still have a thing. I don't know if you ever saw Rising Sun. They have a thing called the burakumin, which are the Under Buddhism, like people who handle dead bodies or tan leather, stuff like that, they're considered unclean. And people who engage in those practices are like an untouchable class in Japan. But they look like everybody else. So when you move to a new place, it's somebody's responsibility to take you aside and tell you like who the people are, you know, that you're supposed to avoid. Not totally related to the story, but one time when I was, as part of my job, I went to Tokyo to like on assignment to like build out this database or something. I don't remember. And I'm like with this guy, and we're at, you know, he's being friendly and asking questions about each other, about me, and I'm asking questions about him. And it's like, okay, so your wife's name is Ikigami, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, right. And she's from Enora? I'm like, yeah. He's like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. Like, what? There's nothing. It turns out that, yeah, she was too. I didn't know. Doesn't matter to me. Anyway, I did not know this at the time. So, like, she's telling us, like avoid these people and avoid these people. And so, like, immediately, like, I hated these people. Like, just those two old people. Like, I hated them so much for, like, being, you know, being racist. And so I right there I decided I'm not going to listen to anything these people say. These people are backward. I can't believe like the fence is trash. Like there's like the plumbing that they have. So it's just this broken PVC pipe. Like, how do you live like this? I thought Japanese people were supposed to be advanced. I can do better than this. I'm way better than this. Oh, and I'm definitely not going to poison the bamboo. Are you insane? Right? I'm not going to poison the forest. Right? It's like the forest is like 30 feet away. What's it going to do to me? Right? Coming up. Okay, and I tore down the fence, and I let my chickens roam free, and where was I? Right. Oh, right. And then such a jackass. I got this idea that I was going to like do really cool agriculture, like not practical agriculture, but like, you know, this is for it's a virtue signal, basically. It's for credibility. So I'm going to do like Native American agriculture. So I found this place on the internet, Native Seeds, search, S-E-A-R-C-H, that sells native heirloom low desert seeds, which is illegal to import in Japan, but I smuggled it in with a bunch of stuff. And so I got like the low desert blue corn and the red corn and the purple peppers and like different kinds of squash. And I did it like in the Three Sisters system, where you put it like all in mounds, and you put the corn in the middle, and the beans crawl up the beans and the peppers crawl up the corn stalks. And I thought it was so cool. And like the people below me, I'm like lecturing them, like, you know, you don't know how to do agriculture. Like, you need to do agriculture the Native American way. That's the real way. Like, you know, people close to the earth, not like these people who, you know, poison plants. It's the most sententious asshole you ever saw. Anyway, so here come the punch lines. Here come the punch lines. All this happened over the winter, which in Koichi Waramura is the dry period. And late spring comes the wet period. And I'll tell you how I lost my entire farm in one night of rain. Okay. First of all, why you don't plant low desert crops in the subtropics. Because low desert crops have very shallow root systems. So as soon as the ground gets wet, all your corn stalks are going to fall over, which is what happened. All my corn stalks, it was a very rainy night, and all my corn stalks fell over. Point number two, what is the 12-inch high wall for? Because in the mountains, oh, it looks exactly like this mountain. Look, right there. Up in the mountains, there are wild Japanese pigs. Like, okay, what is a 12-inch fence going to do about that? A 12-inch fence will absolutely keep out feral Japanese pigs because pigs cannot jump. Pigs negotiate obstacles by going through them. They cannot jump even a little bit. So like if you block their legs even a little bit, that they cannot get into your garden. A neighbor of mine like told me a story about how like he saw a wild pig like stuck in a pothole. He couldn't get out because he couldn't jump. So with the rain came, my corn fell over, the pigs came and devoured everything. They left the peppers alone. They didn't like the peppers, but they ate all the squash, they ate all the corn, and they tore everything up and they pooped all over the place. And then they were gone. I could hear them like while it was raining, but I wasn't going to go outside. First, it was pouring down raining, and second, like, what am I going to do? Like, fight them off? And then the weasels came and devoured all my chickens in a scene that looked like straight out of Silent Hill. Like basically, they ate them alive. That's why you keep your chickens in coops. It's not, it's not so you can have mastery over them. It's to protect them. Turns out. And why you want to use pesticide on the bamboo. When it's dry, bamboo stays where it is. When it gets wet, bamboo moves very, very fast, like at a rate of 3 feet per day sometimes. And they travel underground. It travels underground, and then it shoots spikes straight up. Okay, so you can almost see it moving. So where you see nothing before, after a couple days of rain, it'll go under your house, go boom, straight up through the tatami floor mats, because it's just like dry ground, empty space, and then tatami floor mats, and the bamboo can just boom, straight up through it. And so I had bamboo, pong, 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 and tatami mats cost money, and they weren't mine, so I had all my tatami mats, not all, but many of my tatami mats destroyed, and I had to replace them. And the owner of the house was not happy with me. Right. So, if I ever have like a comedy special on Netflix, this will be like, I don't know how to structure this. It's too rambling, but here's the punchline. I had diligently mucked out the toilet and buried it. I swear all this is true, by the way. And what they mean is like bury it in furrows. What I had done is, because it is in a tall, round container, I dug a tall, round hole, exactly the same shape of it, and like poured it in there and covered it over with 4 inches of dirt. So in the morning, I get up, survey the damage. There's blood and feathers everywhere of my now deceased chickens. My garden is in a shambles. It's all tore up. All my crop is lost. And I walk out, I step on that hole and sink up to my thighs in human feces. Maybe it makes a better movie than a story. Anyway, that's the story about me. That's the story about how I failed at farming in Japan. It only took 23 minutes. All right, I'll think of something else to say next time.